Honda's NT1100 has become one of Europe's most beloved sport tourers, topping the continent's tourer sales charts for 3 consecutive years. For 2026, Honda leaves the fundamentals untouched, a wise move given the depth of the upgrades introduced in 2025. Here is a concise look at what the NT1100 gets right and where it still falls short. At the heart of the NT1100 sits Honda's 1084cc liquid-cooled parallel twin, derived from the celebrated Africa Twin and retuned for sport touring duties. Producing 101 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 112 Newton-meters of torque at 5,500 RPM, the engine prioritizes broad, accessible thrust over peak power figures. That 270-degree crankshaft firing order gives the twin a satisfying, slightly uneven heartbeat, more characterful than a conventional 360-degree parallel twin, while twin biaxial balance shafts keep vibration impressively well controlled at all points in the rev range. The revised intake, combustion, and exhaust development introduced for the 2025 model year delivered 7% more low and mid-range torque without sacrificing peak output, meaning the 2026 NT1100 pulls cleanly from low revs. For real-world touring, filtering through city traffic, swinging out for relaxed motorway miles, or making a brisk overtake on a country road, this engine is a strong fit. It never feels strained and rewards the rider with a smooth but purposeful character that makes long days in the saddle enjoyable. Few motorcycles at this price point match the NT1100's standard specification. The centerpiece is a 6.5-inch full-color TFT touchscreen that supports both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, allowing riders to mirror their smartphone for navigation, calls, and audio without cumbersome cable routing or additional hardware purchases. A 6-axis inertial measurement unit underpins a comprehensive suite of electronic rider aids, cornering ABS, Honda selectable torque control with integrated wheelie mitigation, rear lift control, and multiple riding modes. Cruise control, heated grips, self-canceling indicators, emergency stop signals, a center stand, and both USB and 12-volt accessory sockets are all standard. The optional dual-clutch transmission, updated for 2025 with improved low-speed smoothness and IMU integration for more intuitive cornering shifts, transforms the NT1100 into one of the most relaxed long-distance tools money can buy. For riders who value connected, confidence-inspiring technology that simply works, the NT1100 delivers a level of specification more commonly associated with German premium rivals costing considerably more. The NT1100's ergonomic brief was clearly written by someone who has actually suffered through a long day in the saddle on a less well-considered motorcycle. The seat is wide, thickly padded with nearly 3 inches of cushioning, and set at an 820mm height that strikes a reasonable balance between accessibility and riding position. The handlebars sit higher and wider than many sport tourer rivals, reducing the forward lean that tends to punish wrists, shoulders, and lower backs on extended journeys. The front fairing does genuine aerodynamic work, channeling airflow around the rider efficiently at motorway speeds and reducing fatigue over time. The 2025 generation pannier lids were made deeper, each now large enough to swallow a full-face helmet, a practical improvement that NT1100 owners had specifically requested. For two-up touring, passenger accommodation is thoughtful, with a well-shaped pillion seat and ergonomics designed to keep both riders comfortable for long stretches. At 249 kilograms wet, the NT1100 is not a lightweight, but Honda has been successful in making that mass feel well managed in real riding situations. The chassis, shared in lineage with the Africa Twin, delivers predictable, confidence-inspiring steering with feedback that experienced riders will appreciate and newcomers will find reassuring. The inverted 43mm Showa front fork and Pro-Link rear suspension, with the Showa Era electronically controlled suspension available on the higher spec variant, provide a balanced ride between compliance over broken surfaces and composure through corners. The NT1100 tracks cleanly through bends with minimal drama, turns into corners with appropriate precision for its class, and remains stable when ridden 2-up with a full luggage load. It is not a bike that invites the rider to explore its limits in the way a pure sport bike might, but within the touring brief it was designed to fulfill, its handling is accomplished. Riders stepping up from smaller machines often remark on how quickly the NT1100 size becomes manageable once in motion.
Honda's reputation for mechanical dependability is not mere marketing mythology. It is the product of decades of conservative engineering choices and rigorous quality control. The NT1100, built on a thoroughly developed platform and powered by an engine architecture backed by years of real-world proof, benefits from that heritage. With over 20,000 NT1100s sold, and the model holding the title of Europe's most popular tour in 2023, 2024, and 2025, there is a well-established owner community, a broad parts and accessories ecosystem, and a healthy used market. Dealers are familiar with the motorcycle, servicing intervals are sensible, and the ownership experience is refreshingly uneventful. For buyers who plan to keep a touring motorcycle for many years and many miles, the NT1100's combination of robust mechanicals and strong brand backing represents long-term value. This is perhaps the most straightforward criticism of the 2026 NT1100. It is, mechanically and electronically, identical to the 2025 model. The sole update for the 2026 model year is the addition of a gray metallic color option. That leaves the 2026 NT1100 as a bike with little beyond a new finish to distinguish it, which underlines the point that Honda saw no need to change the fundamentals. For riders who already own a 2025 NT1100, there is zero incentive to upgrade. For buyers choosing between model years in the used or nearly new market, the 2026 carries a new model premium for what amounts to fresh paint. While Honda deserves credit for getting the 2025 upgrade cycle so right that a further update was unnecessary, the 2026 model year still represents a missed opportunity to push the bike forward.
Despite the 5-position, one-handed adjustment mechanism, the NT1100's windscreen draws persistent criticism from riders of above-average height. At speed, particularly at motorway and dual carriageway pace, taller riders commonly report significant wind buffeting striking the helmet, a fatiguing and sometimes distracting experience on the long-distance rides the NT1100 is built for. That makes the screen a notable weak spot in an otherwise touring-focused package. The screen's adjustment range spans approximately 6.5 inches, which sounds generous, but the screen's fundamental geometry makes finding a truly buffet-free position elusive for riders much above average height. Aftermarket screen solutions exist, but it is frustrating to have to spend additional money to solve a problem inherent in the original design of a motorcycle explicitly marketed as a touring machine.
The NT1100's 249-kilogram curb weight is a fact of life that prospective buyers must honestly confront. On the move, that mass is well managed and rarely intrusive. But at low speed, navigating tight car parks, performing slow U-turns, or maneuvering out of a narrow parking space, it becomes more apparent. Riders with shorter inseams or less upper body strength may find the bike challenging to manage in confined spaces, particularly on uneven or sloped surfaces. The center stand, while welcome for maintenance and stability, adds its own challenge to mounting and dismounting a fully loaded machine. This is not a unique failing. Most sport tourers in this displacement class carry similar mass, but it remains a real-world limitation that can affect the NT100's otherwise strong accessibility. The NT1100's comprehensive technology suite comes with a price in terms of interface complexity. The handlebar-mounted switchgear is busy, with buttons dedicated to DCT modes, automatic and manual transmission operation, cruise control, favorites, phone functions, and menu navigation, all competing for attention. That complexity makes the learning curve harder than it should be. Learning the system thoroughly requires a meaningful time investment, and even experienced riders can find themselves fumbling for the correct control mid-ride. In an era when intuitive interface design is a core competency for premium consumer electronics, the NT1100's control architecture can feel somewhat agricultural. Riders who appreciate simplicity or switch between multiple motorcycles will find the learning curve steeper than expected.
The Showa EERA electronically controlled suspension is one of the NT1100's most compelling features for serious touring riders, automatically adjusting damping characteristics in real time to suit road conditions and riding pace. However, it is available only on the higher specification NT1100 electronic suspension variant, which carries a meaningful price premium over the standard model. For buyers who want the full NT1100 experience, the bike at its most sophisticated and most comfortable over varied surfaces, that cost is a significant additional commitment on top of an already considerable initial investment. Given that the electronic suspension integrates directly with the IMU and DCT systems to deliver a more cohesive riding experience, its restriction to the premium variant feels like an artificial segmentation of what should arguably be a standard feature on a modern touring motorcycle.